Welcome everybody. It's good to be back home. I kind of messed up something. I had my power supply to my laptop. I left it with somebody else who brought it to a warehouse essentially. So I had to reconfigure and put all my I had to set up my CPU to my podcast desk. So I've got Robert Baxter here with me. Robert,
Hello,
hi.
Dexter.
Oh, hold on. Let me figure something out. Let's see. All right. No, it's not. No, it's not. I just pass it off because I don't know if you've seen, but um, Devin got got us some maple syrup, and so we couldn't check our bags in, so we have to pass it off to the guys who were driving from Utah. So there was that. Oh, I'm just trying to figure something out real quick.
So while you're going, getting that set up, Dexter, maybe I
One
can start
second.
off.
I'm
I've
struggling
I've
to
had some really good calls with
hear you.
athletes, and had a
My
great
bad. My
call
bad,
today.
guys.
Can you hear me?
I hate the whining. It is whining for sure. Hold on. One second. I can't hear anything. My apologies. My apologies.
Can you hear me,
One second,
Dexter?
guys. Yeah, I just can't hear myself, unfortunately.
Okay. All
But
right. So
and I can't hear Robert either. I apologize. If need be, I can switch back to my other system. Technical. No, it's not. This is definitely my fault. I left my power. Aren't you supposed to? Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. But Robert, go ahead and start answering questions if you want, while I figure out my
okay.
setup so I can hear you
Yeah,
guys.
I don't see any questions yet, but let me just start off with what I was about to say. I've been talking to athletes. It's going really well. The Eastern athletes in particular had a great call today with Hermes Gasparini, and just wanted to get his take on things. And um, now that he understands the whole situation, um, and can see everything more clearly, um, he is completely on board with EVW as well as the other athletes that I've talked to. Um, there are other people helping as well in this process. Um, we've got the Shoshana Babayev, Yvonne helping as well. So it's going very well. I don't hold anything against any of these athletes. They were misguided, misinformed, clearly. And now that they have the whole picture, everything's quite different. So please don't hold anything against any of these athletes, guys. They're very good. They just had a you know incomplete picture. I don't see any other questions popping up. Um, Maybe I'll just share a little bit about the Colorado show. It went really well. I think everybody knows the production went great. Um, Went very smoothly, much shorter than some of the past events. We did have a issue. Um, you know, some I know there's two sides to every story. Um, there's a cyber attack that happened, or a website attack, and the other side of the story is that there's no website attack. Um, So we won't get into the drama on all this, but we are conducting an investigation with a cyber security company who's going to give us all the results. And we will, don't know if we'll make that public. We'll probably just move forward legally on that, and not create any more stress or trauma for the community. So that's that piece. I think we just keep everything professional and not really say anything either way. We can answer any questions that as they come up, that we can, but I think we want to be pretty discreet and not cause the community to have to endure more of this trauma. Back to you, Dexter.
Oh,
I
sorry.
don't.
Totally sorry
No.
about that. I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally had to Frankenstein my two different setups, and yeah, I apologize for that. I yeah, I just didn't have time. I just came back from my. I'm gonna invite this doctor of mine to the podcast. She's like super amazing. She focuses on like posture and scoliosis, and instead of going through the regular like surgery, she would put me on all sorts of weird contraption, like from the Adams family, and just give me like it's almost like a torture device just to get my back and everything straight. So sorry about that. Uh, yeah. Okay, well, let's get going, and I will start off with first super chat. Thanks, Dex and Bax. Oh, that rhymes. I hope you can move on. EVW 19 was awesome. Keep it rolling. No questions yet, but thanks for hanging it. We all felt it. And thank you so much for the support. I know the past 2 months has been a little bit of a turmoil and filled with drama and whatnot. And we, like Robert and I, we kind of spoke earlier today, and we were thinking, what is our plan moving forward, and what do we want to address? And the main thing we both agreed on is that we got to move on. We got to move on. We got to focus. We just did a great event, and we're not going to let anybody hold us back. And we're just going to keep putting forward, and focusing on our next event, Switzerland. So next one, are you able to hire Shaw staff for arm wrestling events in the future for audio visuals? Uh, potentially. So the sh- technically Brian Shaw's staff did not like his own in-house people didn't specifically deal with the AV stuff. It was a third-party contractor. So this contractor dealt with all the strongman stuff, including the Arnold's Classic, and so he for sure picked a good company, a reputable company. And Robert and I spoke, and we like them. Our internal team that worked with them, and I'll be inviting some of them on. You've seen some of our in-house staff, like Adam Silver, the other day, and pretty soon you'll see. We'll be inviting like one of our head technical director, who kind of worked alongside with Shaw to kind of explain and sort of educate them a little bit more about the arm wrestling world, like, well, certain angles of the cameras, certain technical expertise that only experienced arm wrestlers would understand. So I think it was a really, really good collaboration, right? They brought in very high level professionalism, while we brought in a lot of the arm wrestling specific aspect when it comes to AV production, and you kind of merged. So it was really, really good. So yeah. Okay, there we go. There is okay. The chat messages are flying a little bit faster today, so I'll have a little bit of trouble answering all of them. So I apologize if I miss you. So one of the questions, Robert, for you: who's Vitali gonna pull in Swiss, or at least which arm will it be?
We're planning on it being the right arm, and but nothing's been confirmed yet for his opponent. We're looking at several options. Been talking to several people. We won't be able to announce that, unfortunately, for the next couple days. But we do have other matches that are confirmed, just not the Vitali match.
Okay. Sorry, did you answer which arm would it be?
I'm thinking right arm is what the thought is. There is a possibility that that could be left, but Vitali's, of course, the left-hand world champ, super heavyweight, so a little limited as far as who would qualify for that. Right arm, we have two different possibilities we're working with.
Oh, great. Okay. Another question is I like the changes with the challenge flag. What about doing a promotional video to run at the end of the event for the next event? I think that's a strong possibility. uh, Learning what we've learned now, right? We want to slowly take a big step back into what we want to do special and what we want to improve on. So we'll take things a little bit slower. I think one of the challenges was in Chicago was we tried to run before we could start really walking a little bit faster. So we want to start gradually introducing new things. So when it comes to promotional video at the end, it is quite taxing on the staff who attends at the event to edit things on the fly within a short period of time, and edits usually take a pretty long time. So, but yeah, we plan on increasing the whole feel to elevate the performance of the pay-per-view for sure. Next question. Okay, this will probably be a little bit of a bigger thing, and I think everybody's will be asking for that. I would just like to make it quick and simple, a really short answer. Obviously, we have no smoking gun concrete evidence to point it to anybody. The only thing I would just uh, probably quickly explain, the first and most crucial thing for everybody to know is that your credit card information is completely safe. And when I say completely safe, it's because there is two components. Right now, the component that is in question is the domain name. It's basically say like a phone number, right? Just because you lose the control of your phone number does not mean that you lose control of all the data behind that phone number. It's like you don't, because somebody has access to your phone number does not mean that they have all your pictures that were stored in your phone. It's two separate things. One is just the face of sort of the address, and one is where all the data is stored. And all the current data is all stored in a server called in Bluehost, and it's completely separate that only two people in the world has access. And it's me and our head tech guy. So I would just want to clarify that. The second point is that from the old domain name, it was registered under an email, which has been turned over to us, and the only people who had access to them were me and our tech guy plus the previous administration, right? And I know there's people talking about back orders and whatnot, but we know for a fact, and we are getting a certified report for the reason of to obtain our main goal right now is just to retrieve back the domain name, which I think we'll be able to do in the near future. But the main point everybody needs to be clear on is that, irregardless of all the smoke and mirrors, back orders do not work when it's intercompany. So if right now you see the registrar who manages the domain was switched from a Turkish company, Isentimil, over to Hostinger, which is in America. Somebody in Hostinger cannot place a back order on an Isentimil registrar, a domain registered in, and piercing the domain protection, the grace period, essentially. The only way that somebody can pierce the uh, the grace period is if it's within the same registrar. And I'm not saying Eric is wrong and whatnot, because if you were to do a simple check, GoDaddy is by far one of the largest marketplace for domain names. And one of their bread and butter is people buying and selling domain names. And matter of fact, even until October of last year, they actually discontinued this program for back orders, but the previous one still exists. But point being is, if you look into this, back orders that you want the peers, the grace period can only be done within the same registrar. Else, if it's for a third party, third party back order service, they can only wait till after the grace period has been over before it drops. And well, so after it drops, I think it's about 80 days, then that back order service will be able to pick it up, but it cannot be done. So I again, right? I don't want to point any fingers. I'm just saying that I'm telling you what happened. I don't know who it is. I have no, Robert and I, we don't have 100% certainty that anybody was involved in this. Well, we cannot name a specific person, but we do know that it was malicious. It was malicious, and it was coordinated. It was, a planned thing. That's what I'll put it to bed. I don't want to keep harping on this because we're trying to move forward. Our new website is evwsports.com. It will take a while to that domain name to propagate everywhere. And going forward, our merch, you can get it at evwsports.com/shops. And our pay-per-view can be obtained from live.evwsports.com. So if you still can't enter our main website, type those exact full web link in there instead of trying to Google search it. So until we get it back, I'll make that official announcement when we have the full domain name of east-versus-west-armwrestling.com. Don't go there. They might be spreading false information. Do not spend a single dime on that website, the old website at least, because it could be a spoof and they could be using and stealing your credit card information. So that's the old website. evwsports.com is the current official website. Okay, so let's I've already put that to bed. Next, Robert, this is a question for you. Can you guys tell us who is the matchmaking council?
We can't, we're not going to be able to announce it right now. But we are putting that together, and we're getting input, really good input, actually, working on that every day. So we've got almost the whole match card done, and it's you'll see how good it is when we release it. But it's already been announced at the event, at the end of the event on Friday night, that we have Vitali has committed. We don't have his opponent selected yet. We have Ibrahim Sagaf versus Dave Chafee for the 115 kg world title match. We also have Todd Hutchings versus Irakli for the 95 kg world title match. And we'll announce more. We want to start with a few here. We know we're going to have another really good match with Oleg Petrenko, the 105 kg world champ. That technically that title belongs to Devin until November 1st. November 1st is actually when we have the next event, so that title will belong to Oleg Petrenko, who's the interim world title holder. He's also the world title holder in the 105 kg left hand. So he will be going in, and we know who that is. We're going to hold that announcement. It's going to be very, very, very good. And we have, we're going to actually have 12 matches here, and we have 10 of the 12 already committed. So that's what I can tell you right now.
Okay, well, that's great. But in terms of the Jedi Council, I think it would be released shortly. Not quite yet, but shortly. Let's see. Any plans to offer free event like UFC tournament? We actually brought it up with the Swiss team. but they were anticipating something massive for their Swiss Open, and they are expecting that the earlier in the day on Saturday that they might still continue with their tournaments. I think for the Masters or something. So we might struggle to find a slot to do a 6+6 option. But it's still up in the air. I still haven't fully discussed this with Robert yet. But at some point we will want to do an undercard and then an main event. I don't know what this is. There's no message. Thank you, Tito. But Uncle Todd versus Irakli. I'm Soul. I think there was a little bit of some question about the calls and the ruling, just like Alex and Devin. So I think this would be a pretty good one to kind of nail down who really should have won in Georgia. Another one, hats off bringing Coach Ray. He was sorely missed. That guy on camera, I've never met him, has a good hit on his shoulder, value, expertise at. Is that Ben Holden, the commentator? If that's who it is, he's a very experienced guy. He is a very experienced guy who has worked with Neil for a really long time. Here's another question. Bravo to the whole EVW team on the spectacular event. How was the engagement for Friday night versus the past Saturday time slot? Wait, you got any comments, Robert?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was really interested to see how that would turn out. I mean, we actually had a very good turnout for a Friday night. Um, you know, really just North America. Very few people from Europe would be staying up that late in the middle of the morning. But we did lose some from Europe because it's already out. The results are already up. When they go to their Facebook page or they go to social media, it's already known who the winners are, and so not as good not as good from Europe like we had expected, but better from North America than we had expected.
Yeah. We will never know the true success, but just strictly looking from the pay-per-view numbers from North America, or at least from the West, or anybody who woke up and stayed awake to watch it from the East, it was better than anticipated. However, because of our pay-per-view system being shut down for 8 hours, that kind of hurt us a little bit. But so we will never know. But strictly just looking from the current numbers, at least, I think Robert was pretty happy until our stream went down. So next, this one's a pretty good one, and you guys would love the answer. Robert, why don't you go ahead with this one?
Let me get my glasses on.
Any ladies on the card?
Oh, on this card?
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to have 4 ladies on the card. So we're going to have 2 ladies matches. And I'm going to go ahead and announce one prematurely just because you asked. This has been confirmed today. Actually, this was confirmed last night or about 2 o'clock this morning. Gabby Vasconcelos versus Barbora. That's for the left arm world championship title. That should be good. Gabby lost to Barbora in Atlantic City in December at King of the Table 13. And it was pretty close in the beginning, and then Barbora kind of took over at the end. But that was right-handed. Gabby's arguably better arm is left, and Barbora's better arm is probably right. So this will be very interesting to see what happens here for the left arm world title.
Yeah, excellent. Here's another one: Robert versus Dexter. I'll buy every single pay-per-view.
Oh, thank you.
That's a yeah. Okay, here's another one. Would you guys consider running a community voted event, such as polling the community to see which matches within reason they want to see most?
I've talked about that from the very beginning, that we should be getting comments from our fans. I mean, we can't 100% guarantee that if most of our fans want to see a certain match that we'll be able to do it. Um, but I think um, the fan response is going to be very helpful, and I think that's a great idea. And I've actually thought about this from the very beginning. So
Hmm.
yes, we will be taking into account the fan. Uh,
So, considering that, Robert, the past like 4 podcasts I've done, everybody, well, many people have been mentioning this person, uh, Ayane Takinaka. Like her name keeps popping up, so we gotta keep her in mind. I know that we already have 4 women, and it's I was kind of uh, switch card is kind of full, but maybe we can consider her for December. I'm just throwing it out there. It's still a council, and Robert has the final say. But I'm just saying, if you're thinking that way, her
yeah,
name has been coming
yeah.
up very very
Yeah, we
often.
definitely need to take all that into consideration.
Yeah. Next thing is we have what about Samusha Aidarkhan rematch? They are saying don't let GVW take that match from us.
Yeah, um, we're we're talking to Samusha right now, um, and uh, I know, and this is maybe giving away a little bit too much because we don't have anything concrete, but um, in Colorado, over this last weekend, I did talk to Todd Hutchings about his next match and kind of his plans. He would like to be the world EVW world uh, title holder for um, 4 divisions. Um, Now that's a pretty lofty goal, but Devin held it for 3. He'd like to hold it for 4. So he'd like to go down to the 85 kg with Samusha and challenge for that belt as well. And then also for Petrenko or the winner of this Petrenko match that we'll release here shortly. Um, and then he wants to challenge for that as well. So um, we'll see what happens. But Samusha, um, yeah, we definitely want to keep him as active as we can. He's pulling. Um, so his deal is right-handed with us. So his left hand is really. I don't believe I've ever seen him pull at EVW or at East versus West in the left hand. So the right hand is what he'll be pulling with EVW. Um, and not sure when that match is going to happen. It's not going to happen though in November. It's not going to happen in Switzerland.
Okay, here's another big one that the chat is just going nuts at. It's this Schoolboy versus Rickard.
Yeah, I actually mentioned that today with with one of our you know
Council members.
council members, expert, um, and and that wasn't really very favorable. Um, but yeah, that was actually the match I was thinking of. So we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, great. Next one we have is Dexter. I bought a jersey from the old website last week. Will I still be able to receive it? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's all split. As I said, it's only the domain has changed, but everything on the back end is completely separated. Matter of fact, we've compartmentalized where the pay-per-view it's a separate server, hosted on a separate server, and our merch is on a separate server. So don't worry about that. It'll be all your credit cards are fine. Your personal data is all fine. There is no indicator that it has been leaked, unless I stab Robert in the back. Just kidding. Which is not what's happening. Okay, so then let's do. Colorado was my first in-person event. It was great. Any plans to have school or pool? And also, Drew, the interview is still with EVW. Drew was a little upset because of certain things that people have said, and he's like, I don't need this. I can just go back to hosting at NFLs and Oscars, Academy Awards, and whatnot, and MTV Awards. But we've reached out to him, and we kind of like, dude, we need your energy. We absolutely need your energy. So, I mean, several athletes also reached out to him saying that, well, you could really help us take us to the next level. Nothing has been concrete yet. We just got back. We were just focused on Colorado. So there's that. But again, Robert, here's another comment about Schoolboy. So it's been a while since we've seen Schoolboy, so we gotta consider him as well. Here's another question for you, Robert. What have you learned from taking over EVW?
I learned that this is way harder than I ever thought it was, or that it would be.
What else? Is there anything specific?
Well, yeah, I've learned a lot actually. I've learned, yeah, to be very careful. Normally, you know, I like to deal with kind of your word and your handshake type of situations, but yeah, but I would say the two things I've learned the most is be very, very careful, more careful than you would think. And also, this is not an easy endeavor, much more difficult and complicated than it looks like just from the outside looking in.
Next question we have. I know there are several questions about Devin. Has Devin been asked to take a break by the organization, or has he been asked to pull and not take a break? We have asked if he would like to attend Switzerland as an athlete instead of just a regular attendee. However, he really wants to pull, but he's got to check, with his doctors and whatnot, because he's been pulling back to back for a while, and he's been pulling way beyond what most pullers have done. So we gotta respect what his doctor says, and he has every right to decline. So if you want anything, Robert.
No, I mean, we'll honor whatever our athletes want, and so if they don't feel ready or they want to be more rested, we don't want to push them.
Okay. Next was, what approximate percentage of cost is athlete pay over accommodation? Oh, accommodation, it's a small fraction compared to athletes pay, by far. Athletes pay, they get paid a lot more than what we spend on accommodations. I don't know what the percentage is. It's hard. The percentage differs from event to event.
Yeah, it's way higher than any other sport I've ever seen. So it's out of balance right now.
Okay.
We don't want to change the athlete pay except to go up, and the way to make it go up is to increase the fan base, and we have to get away from the pay-per-view model to do that, because pay-per-view model is just not working well. I mean, we're getting more and more piracy. It's not really sustainable with the pay-per-view model. We have to do kind of what, and I know you've been working on this, Dexter, and Drew was helping us as well to get into a Netflix type model.
Yeah, a streaming service.
A
I mean, you
streaming
see,
service.
UFC, they just signed a $7.7 billion deal. right? That's the dream. With that money, we could produce high level documentary content. We could have multiple teams around the world. We'll be able to fly our teams all around the world to have a consistent AV product. Uh, so like right now in Switzerland, it's pretty difficult for us to fly an entire team from North America over with all the massive equipment because we're talking about equipment the size of a bus, right? Uh, it's just logistically very, very challenging unless we have duplicates of the same equipment. So not right now, but I mean that would be perfect. We won't have to focus. We won't have to worry about piracy, and we could just power through and just focus on putting on a good show. Next question. Is Sarah Backman coming? Or when is Sarah Backman coming?
Yeah, but we don't know when. It won't be in Switzerland. We are looking at some options for her right now, but she's still battling an injury, so she's still healing up.
Okay. That is right. Will Yoshi be back at some point?
Yeah, if Yoshi will return, I know he was thinking of retiring,
Hmm.
but we got plenty of people who want to challenge him from EVW, so I hope he doesn't retire quite yet.
You know what? Maybe you should have a event in Japan and there's be Yoshi and Ayane. uh, what Eastern athletes are still out?
There's really, I mean, the only one that I would say is out would be Kanadi.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the easy. I'm really trying. Like every athlete, even I think was it yesterday when Ivan Matushenko posted a video in support of the new management, namely you, Robert, and he wished you the best. There's really nobody else. Everybody's they got clarification and they fully understood the whole situation. We still have a few athletes that are not contracted by EVW that may not have gotten the full picture, but we haven't really gotten to them because it takes time to reach out to to every one of them and explain exactly in detail. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I mean, all we can say is the most outspoken, um,
yeah,
against EVW, um, and and to go a different direction are now our biggest proponents. They're our biggest advocates,
right.
and so yeah, we're making very good progress, and I don't think we have anybody that's saying they're not going to come back. Um,
Yeah, yeah, great. Here's another one. Sean Crowther. There's a young female up and comer you guys should keep your eyes out for. Amberine Drowse from Mad Mass Club is only 16 and just won the left arm open division.
hmm,
Oh, beating the current number 4.
I've heard of her.
16, Robert. You might have to have a junior league running around.
Yeah, there's also a very young man from Ontario who's winning at a very young age. I think he's about the same age.
Well, there we have it. Lots of new options.
And then we
Um,
also have another one, Rickard Bornman's brother, who's
yeah,
only 16 years old. And Rickard said he's actually much stronger and better than he was at that same age, and he's bigger. I mean, he's taller. He's going to have a bigger frame. He just won at 16 years old. He just won the 105 kg class open at 16 and at a large event, and now he's about 8 kgs bigger. This was back in February, and he just won the open division in a large uh, pro tournament again at 16 years old. So there's a lot of great things happening for our future with that
yeah,
Rising Stars.
yeah. When we grow with the sport growing, we'll need all the new young blood. to fill in for sure.
Yep.
Will Devin Levon, Matt Mass be in Switzerland?
Well, Devin will be in Switzerland, not compete. And I mean, I don't think he's interested in competing. Well, I know he's interested in competing. He really would love to, but I don't think he will be ready to compete. But he'll be there as a special guest.
Okay. Next one.
And then the question is about Levon. I don't know if Levon will be there. We'll certainly invite him. And I haven't talked to Levon for a few weeks. I've talked to his manager, or we've communicated here in the last few days.
Right.
But definitely reach out to Levon to see if he'd like to attend.
But he won't be here to poll, basically.
No, not to poll. No,
Yeah,
just to attend
Yeah.
as a guest.
And to answer that question, TM, are the 27 athletes only coming back because Devin is taking an extended break? No. Matter of fact, a lot of them. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw Matt Rhodes' video this afternoon. They also clarified, no, absolutely not the case. Nothing to do with Devin. It was more feeling comfortable that under the new management, rules were not going to be changed, and in favor of any athlete. So that was why on last Friday night, was a big thing that for the first time we've released the full complete set of rules. So every athlete, including East and West, can refer to that. And over time, we'll make more clarifications and more, and we'll literally bring that up a little bit more. I'm going to do a little bit more videos in the future to showcase exactly what every rule means. Circling back real quick, Laia Cornelson could be a great match for Ayane. She has been waiting patiently for a shot and is qualified for EVW. So put that name in the hat as well, Robert.
Okay.
Here's another one that's pretty good. Will you invite Travis for commentary in the future?
Yes, I think we want Travis in the future.
Absolutely.
But we also, I think we want to have kind of the variety, so we don't have always the same commentary.
Yeah. So far, yeah, we've made no indication whatsoever that Travis is not part of our league. It's just moving around. I think that's what the UFC does. I think that's what many other leagues, they rotate the commentators quite a bit. I think the one exception that we do have, Robert, is, I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like Neil Pickup. He's not just a commentator. If he was, that he might be rotated, but he's an announcer as well, which makes him a very unique person. So unless he's unavailable, I think Neil is the only constant, in that regard.
Right.
All right. Here's another one. Consideration for EVW 20. Monster Michael Todd versus Devin left arm. Match only, no rank change. Terms: round 1 hook match, round 2 top roll match, round 3 flop or kings, and round 4 anything goes. Freedom arm wrestling. Thoughts?
Well, just to really be blunt, I mean, that wouldn't be a match. I mean, there'd be it wouldn't be close left-handed.
Yeah, from my understanding, I think we actually brought that up, but Michael's a right-hand specialist.
Yeah.
Here we go. The next question again, Robert. Just keep in mind, this guy is a troll from the UK, so take things with a grain of salt. But he's a fun guy. He always adds color. Will we see Akimbo pulling at EVW?
So that's not from the
No,
guy?
no. This guy's legit question, and I think it's a good. It's a real good question. He's pulling at GVW.
I've actually mentioned that in the, I mean, that's been not my, you know, responsibility before. I mean, it's very clear that, um, you know, outside or any direction there is not really, it hasn't been really wanted, but I have mentioned that in the past, and I think it would be a good idea to have a Kimbo.
Mm, yep. There we have it. Next one we have. This is from Siray, unless it's imposter. But did the event raise the bar of how the stream will go moving forward, along with how the athletes are treated? Um, I think there's definitely certain things that we we now know a little bit of what the athletes are expecting. For instance, in Chicago, we offer all athletes free haircuts, right? And then we didn't do anything extremely different in Istanbul because um, it wasn't fully planned
But
by us. But then, if we look back in Arlington prior to that, we offered, well, we actually gave all athletes and some uh, a special IV concoction. It's better than the Maya's concoction. So we also tried it to take care of the athletes, but turns out I think what the athletes really wanted was a case of water and some snacks. So we'll also start thinking about how we can incorporate that. And one thing I think they did well that we learned was instead of just having WhatsApp messages sent to everybody, a printout, a physical printout would be warranted. And I kind of told Anna that's our next plan for every event going forward. We'll try to set up like a small little packet that includes, certain small information of where to eat nearby and, all the schedule for the whole week. But most importantly, we will want that translated to their native language instead of them using Google Translate on WhatsApp, for their WhatsApp messages. So I think those small touches do really make a small difference. But no, we will try to keep figuring out how to raise the bar, but at some point there is also some financial reasonable cost. I think, matter of fact, I think Robert, have you confirmed that we will be having a small excursion with all the athletes to downtown Switzerland, so the athletes would have a chance to tour Zurich a little bit more, right? So that's something
yeah,
new that we're doing. Um,
yeah, no, we want to continue to add more for our athletes, and you know, to answer Saray's question, do we learn anything? Yes, I think what we learned is these, it's not about really the money that you spend, because there's more money spent on the things that we've done in the past, um, on a lot of these things. It's really it's the little things that matter. It's these little touches. It's having a little bag at the front desk with, so they have the water. The hotel already supplies all the water for free, but having their own, case of water. I mean, that was really, that's a good idea. And
yeah.
having little snacks in there. Also, there's one of their sponsors is a food sponsor for meals, frozen meals. You throw in your microwave, and they donated some of that, gave that to the athletes. As we get bigger sponsors and more sponsors, we'll be able to do more of those kind of things as well. But everything that we can do, we want to do. The small things are really easy to do. I mean, that's something that we should be doing and will be doing, um, starting in Switzerland.
Next, do we have any plans on changing the name from EVW? We've talked about it. Me and Robert have talked about it. Uh, at one point, it was East and West arm wrestling instead of East versus West, to show unity. But it didn't feel very strong. It didn't feel like a real combat sport league name. I don't know. I don't know, Robert, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good concept that we're all united, we're all working together. But I think the fans want to see that, the competition too. They want to see that, you know, athletes from the
Rivalry.
East really, yeah, really competing against the West and vice versa. So, um, Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if we would want to change the name. Um, Certainly, it's a possibility. We're open to ideas.
Here's another one. Michael Todd versus Vitali rematch. I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah, I think what Michael Todd really wants to do is he wants to drop weight to the 115 kg. Um, and I talked to Michael today about this actually, earlier this morning, and um, challenge for the 115 kg world title. I mean,
Yeah. He posted a picture today of his former 150 when he was at 115. It looks pretty good.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
and I think he's more healthy there. I mean, I think it's probably better for him at 115. Um,
Here's another big question. So the GVW athletes still on the roster?
um, the GVW athletes under that are not under contract, so with EVW, um, we will we'll make kind of a one time, or we're thinking about making a one time um, offer where they they'll be able to to do both if they're not contracted
Okay.
with EBW.
Yeah. Oh, also to add on to the whole thing, there may be some athletes that we've been talking to that we are going to be offering contracts to. And so you might see them polling at GVW, and then later we'll announce that they'll be polling in Switzerland. And those are abnormal cases because they accepted GVW prior to us offering them a contract. But for any athlete who has not been announced at GVW, and we've kind of told them about our plans in Switzerland, and they decline, uh, well, I mean, and they still accepted a GVW offer, they will not be polling at Switzerland. So there's that. Have you thought about adding a weight cutoff for super heavyweights at 275? Though an open division at 275 plus. Seems we have enough giants now. What do you
Yeah,
think,
we
Rob?
talked about it. I don't know what the weight cutoff would be. Somewhere right around there. We've talked about 280 being the cutoff.
Hmm. Yeah, right now we have a lot of monsters, and 275 to 390. That's a huge gap,
Hmm.
and all in the same category. How would I've answered this? What do you think of Travis's idea having a crowd commentator, him, a pay per view commentator, and an MC? To me, that glues all the atmosphere together. So, for the most part, to answer that question, that's what Drew was brought on for. He was sort of the crowd guy to get the crowd energy. So, anytime there was a downtime, like an ad, a commercial break, and whatnot, he's the guy, to hype the crowd up, walking around, giving out, you know, interviewing small young kids who their favorite arm wrestlers are, throwing out free shirts, just keeping the in-person crowd. And occasionally you've seen him interviewing athletes backstage, like the one where he did with Devin, where he was on the ground lying down, just interviewing Devin in his natural state. Those were in that form. Like Drew and I, we are closer in the same boat where we are not technically arm wrestlers, like very technical yet. We've just we're pretty new to the sport, so we're still learning. So at the very least we could cover everything outside of arm wrestling. And I think it's quite important to, maybe this is the bias part of me, I always like to know where they grow up, where they grew up, what their favorite food is, what their current job is, and just get to know them on a personal level basis rather than, oh, that guy's a hook puller. Oh, Camille, yeah, he's a flop press, right? I mean, there's only so much of that to go around, and I think it's a good balance to know outside, no, on the table and beyond the table. Um, Here's another question, Robert. Any ideas for Brian Shaw's next opponent?
Yeah, I mean, he would have to agree, but um, one one comment I saw earlier today was Derek Smith versus Brian Shaw, and I think most of the people were responding that Derek Smith would probably win at this stage. Um, but Brian would have to agree to the match. But um,
Yeah. Okay. That'd be pretty good. Here would what would it take for a small influencer like me to get invited to cover a East versus US East versus event and do a live podcast there? Honestly, it doesn't take very much. I contact me at Dexter at evwsports.com, and I have a sort of sort of an agreement that you have to sign to be a, sort of a media ambassador, and it will outline on certain things you can or can't do. Like for instance, you can't do an interview that is already being done by us. Example, you've seen all the interviews done by Ray, so that needs to go out first, and do not record our pins and basically live stream those. And if you have any videos, while as by being given a media pass, you get really good shots of certain things. You are required to also do a backlink to our pay-per-view website. So we are very welcoming to influencers, big or small, to come in and do coverage, because essentially that's you guys are kind of critical. You guys are the ones who are helping us, market and promote the event. So why wouldn't we have you help us? It doesn't cost us anything other than giving you guys access. So those are some of the small things. So happy to communicate with you guys to see how you guys can help us, and we can help you grow your channel as well, because in order to go mainstream we need every help possible. Next, any athlete from Latin America like Thiago Ferreira from Brazil versus Lars Robekin. There are many monsters in Latin America. Well, technically speaking, I did do a check. Brazil is part of Latin America. And I just learned that. And so technically we have Gabby, who's going to Switzerland. So I don't know, Robert, you want to add to that?
no, that's good. Um, we might want to have an event. We've talked about having an event in Brazil as well.
Yes, that would be so much fun.
And
That'd be so
also,
much fun.
too, I don't know how people would feel about this, but talking to the Mexican um, Arm Wrestling Federation president,
Yeah.
Noel, and great guy. Went to dinner with him. He actually wouldn't let me pay, and he very badly wants to have an event in. Uh, looks like Mexico City is where it would be if we are able to pull that off.
Okay. I like that.
And that's North America, I know, but at least it's
Eh,
outside of America and in Canada.
yeah. I think that'd be pretty fun. It, I, so I think it would be a huge investment in hiring Joe Rogan as an announcer, even it costed a ton. Uh, so actually, right now, not even kidding, we are in talks with someone from USC who would like to do some sort of a collaboration with us. So potentially, it could be through Dana White. Not promising anything. I'm not trying to give people false hope, but that conversation is happening right now. I mean, just within the past year, we've seen how big, you know, the arm wrestling community has grown. So I think we're every day we're inching closer towards mainstream. And I think UFC will help us get us there. The 98% arm wrestling supports EVW. Thank you for all the involvement that made Friday night possible. Incredible event. Well, yeah. And without you guys, without the 98% arm wrestlers, and not just talking about that specific organization, but just every, arm wrestlers out there and supporters and fans. We could not have done this without you guys. Absolutely.
And 98% has done a great job, as
Oh
well.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Here's why is this on my channel, not EVW? Potentially, it's to clarify that anything that potentially could go negative should not be on our channel, on the official channel, because it will be reviewed and audited, and we don't want people thinking the arm wrestlers are a whole bunch of amateurs.
and that would be for like a UF. So if we are partnering with, say, UFC in some way, or with Netflix for distribution, broadcasting, or uh, DAZN or whoever, they'll typically look at, they'll do a background check on us, look at, you know, go through and see if there's any um, dirt, and um, just make sure we're professional. And
Yeah.
having stuff on here where there's drama is not a good not a good look.
Yeah, I agree. Here's another one. Please keep the same production, flag rule, and ref communication for every event. We need to see Alijan versus David left hand, Todd or Irakli versus Petrenko 95 right hand, Ricard and Philip Larson. Ooh, Robert, right there, Ricard and Philip Larson. We
Yeah.
actually did discuss this.
Well, that was the match that I had set for Colorado, and and they agreed to that. But then we had Pablo with Tobias Sporon, right-handed, and uh, Tobias agreed. They said, you've got to go through my manager for the financial piece of it. And he said, yeah, I can't do anything uh, until until there's an agreement with Hingen. And so that kind of fell apart. And then we had to switch things around because we didn't have the Eastern support at that time. And so the match that I had set and actually told the athletes that they were pulling each other, I had to switch because of that Eastern misinformation campaign.
Let's see. Here's the other thing. Have you guys been looking at Southeastern athlete? Vietnam Dong Duc is quite popular. Arm wrestling is popular there as well. Uh, to clarify, of course, I'm not sure if you just joined, but I'm from Southeast Asia. I'm from a country called Malaysia. I was back there. I had meetings all set up, ready to go meet with our sports minister to bring East versus West and more arm wrestling support to the country. And from my understanding, Malaysia has the largest resources when it comes to that. Hence, so it matches up really well. Unfortunately, the Malaysian Arm Wrestling Federation uh, has opted to not vote to return back to WAF, which makes things a little bit more tricky. So currently, there is very little chance for us to enter Malaysia. But I personally watched the match between Don Duke and Gregory Yao. So yeah, yeah, I know how capable he was. Matter of fact, we had Mike Ford from Malaysia, from Sabah, who was the Honors Classics champion, and came and pulled at the Open tournament last weekend. So yeah, there's a lot of we love to give support to every corner of the world. I've been talking to people from Africa to India, uh, instead of just our regular North American and Eastern European. So we want to grow the sport, around the whole world. Will you be bringing back the strongmen? I was super impressed with their performance and promotion. I think I was talking to a few of the strongmen, and they love arm wrestling enough that the way that they presented it to me, that they'll be continually training in arm wrestling. So I think there's a lot of possibility. We'll see more and more strongmen over the years, especially those who have sort of semi-retired from strongmen, transition over to arm wrestling as well. I don't know, Robert, if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we want the strongmen to be part of arm wrestling. They already are. And there's a lot more that is being done right now um, to to get more exposure, um, and has more top names like Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, who actually has even more subscribers, double the subscribers as Brian. He's bringing a lot of influence and a lot of eyes to the sport, and getting more strongmen into arm wrestling. Um, Also, Neil Pickup is helping because he's got a lot of exposure to as an announcer for Giants Live, the big strongman competition in the UK. Um, he's doing a lot as well. So, really together, we're making this. It's not just one person or one league that's doing all this. It's really a community uh, drive to make this sport what it can be, and it's pretty impressive to watch the arm wrestling event here in Colorado, and then to watch the strongman event. There's really no reason, I can't see any reason why arm wrestling can't be as big as strongman. I mean, I I know I'm biased, but I'm like, wow, what? I mean, we're not really missing. I mean, there's nothing that you know. I don't want to say anything bad about strongman, but and I know I'm an arm wrestler, but it was far more entertaining for people that actually didn't really know much about either, and for the first time they loved the arm wrestling. So I think the future for arm wrestling fans and the base is sky's the limit, and we can see with the views that we're getting on YouTube for our matches. Um, we've got millions of fans out there, which means that when we do a deal with a subscription model,
Yep.
like a Netflix or whoever, um, we'll have the fan base to support a deal like that, and so that's just a matter of time until we um, get there. We've got the numbers right now.
Yep. Absolutely. Uh, Next we have: is it possible Devin Vitali in Switzerland? He can take a massive break after health always comes first, though. Yeah. So we kind of answered earlier, but Devin is checking, but it's very, very unlikely that he'll be able to pull in Vitali. He needs a break.
Yep.
Have we considered Rumble for streaming deal? We've considered everything. As a matter of fact, I sent an email out to oh shoot, was it? It's not Twitch. But yeah, we are talking to multiple different people, but ultimately the pie in the sky is a company who streams to the most countries as possible. So we'll get there, guys. We'll get there. Robert and Dexter, what is your relationship with WAF? And will you be assigning someone to scout the Eastern champions from WAF?
Yeah, we will be, and we are. So WAF is very important to to our league. That's where the talent. That's where, well, at least most of the talent in the East comes from, the new talent, and um, so we need to keep an eye on on the WAF athletes, and we do have representation there right now.
Uh, oh yeah, somebody mentioned Kick. Yes, Kick was the person I've been discussing and communicating with in a streaming deal. Uh, is the challenge flag going to stay?
Yeah, as long as the athletes agree. So we had all the athletes agree ahead of time to our Colorado event, and so that's now set. In order to have it set for, it's really not a rule change. It's not a match rule change, but it's a more of a process change. But just to be safe, because we did say that any There would be no rule changes or match, I mean, and meaning match rule, but just to be safe, we'll make sure we get all the athletes in the East and the West to agree before making that widespread.
Excellent. Next question. As a Christian, I must share this, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Okay. Try not to get too religious on the show, but great work, guys. We are all behind you supporting what you thank you for what you do. Thank you, 98. I mean, 98 is, yeah, for everybody out there, if you guys can't find your local clubs, hit up 98. They are growing. They're trying to partner with a lot of reputable people within the arm wrestling community here in North America. Uh, yeah, hit them up if you can't find a local club. How do you effectively enforce contracts in so many different jurisdictions when the organization is located in the United States?
Well, um, the way the contracts are set up, it's under Dubai law. And so most countries in the world recognize Dubai law, whether you're in the East or the West.
Okay. As the sport gets bigger, what will happen as far as drug testing goes, if anything? Drug testing. Do you have any plans, Robert?
Um, no, we don't have any plans as of yet. There may be, um, in the future, there may be, depending on the deals that we get with broadcasting. Um, they may make some demands. We'll have to make some decisions, but um, I guess the answer is we don't know.
Uh, Great. The pro announcer you had at the Blue Arena was great. Night and day difference. Have you hired someone to set matches going forward? Do you officially offer Vitalik to fight? Are you investigating who hacked the site? Okay, well, that there's a lot of questions here in one post. Great pro announcer we had is Ben Holden. He's a very experienced guy. I think he just took a 6-year hiatus, but he's back. I think there is nothing but positive. I met him. He's a pleasant guy to deal with, and he has been working with Neil for a while back in the day. So there's a very very high likelihood if he still wants to work with us. I'm just kidding. We'll definitely be in talks with him for sure. We have a committee to set matches to help set matches. We will disclose that person's identity in the near future. Have you offered Vitali a fight? Yes, Vitali has accepted to come to Switzerland. Are we still investigating who hacked the site? The first
Yeah,
priority is to get it back. That's our first priority. Matter of fact, someone reached out to try to sell the site back to us. But more importantly, we do have an ethical hacking group who is putting together a certified report that we could use at court to determine, uh, where the foul play happened. Next, is Zhao competing? He made a new pronation lift record of lifting 117 kilograms. He is actually, I don't know, Robert, if you can share this, but he's one of the athletes that we offered him a match. And this was prior to him accepting a match with GVW. Perhaps he, uh, I, I don't know, but he was
yeah.
hoping that he could pull an open.
The answer is no. We will not offer him a match um, at this time. Um, if we get a contract with him in the future, um, we could, but for we have to draw a line on what we will and won't do, and so we will not offer that match.
Great. What other arm wrestlers could we see strongmen pull soon? Are we ready? For example, RVJ, Wayne Withers, Matai, Warangangi, and Wagner. That's your question, Robert.
Um, let me just read the question here. Sorry, guys, I need glasses.
So basically, which arm wrestlers could pull strongmen?
Well, any of our arm wrestlers could pull strongmen. I don't think the strongmen are quite um, developed enough in arm wrestling to be able to pull against those guys, or any of those guys. Um, the time will come probably pretty soon where they can, but um, I don't think the strongmen are ready yet for that level.
Yeah. Next, we have can't wait to see you guys do in the future. We have no doubt it'll be epic. We're all behind you. Well, thank you, 98. And thank you for all what you guys have been doing to help grow the community. What about East versus West straps? I saw all different straps at the event. We have been collecting a whole slew of different samples, and I think early this year in January we had a whole bunch of straps, and those straps were lackluster. We ordered like over like 1,000 or 2,000 of them, and they ended up being mostly training level straps, uh, and they weren't as good of a quality that Robert and I wanted it to be. So now it became our signature straps. So we had athletes sign on those, and we'll give them away occasionally. But yeah, there is plans to have our own East versus West straps at some point. Has anyone spoken to UFC or Dana White? Arm wrestling is way better than sled fighting, and would be huge if promoted right. Yes, for sure. I mentioned it earlier. We do have plans. Well, matter of fact, we are talking to UFC right now. So cross fingers. I mean, the collaboration with the Strongman it was great. It was such a fun and fantastic weekend. But I think the UFC also brings in other side of the community that we could definitely want them to sling them and bring them over. So for sure. Hi guys. When you can, could you invite back Ayane Tanaka to EVW? She's gotten a lot more popular since her last pull at the event. See, Robert, I'm telling you, we gotta pay a little bit of attention to her.
Yeah,
That's a lot of support there. I'm not saying it this as a fellow Asian, but I'm just saying the fans really want it. I'm not being biased.
yeah.
So, Epic Times EVW 19. Appreciate what you both are doing for the sport big time. Benji Mac, Robert. This is Benji. Uh, Benji was such an incredible asset to EVW. He was helping us from the autograph room to the merch to that a lot of behind the scenes videos. He's a fantastic guy. He's one of the nicest guy I've seen. The first time I met him, it felt like we were already longtime brothers. He's the guy who'd be like a true ally of the sport. Like it's difficult. If we had like 10 more Benji Max, I think we would have been mainstream by now. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, Benji's great.
Yeah.
His energy throughout the whole weekend was off the charts. He just went to full speed from project to project, helping us. Anything we can do to help him grow his channel. That's the kind of partnership or kind of um, team that we want. Anything we can do to help um, other people that are got the same mission and vice versa, we want to do more with.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Somebody offered a match suggestion, Robert. Drew versus Benji. So Drew's a big, he's a big moderator, uh, of ours, and Benji is more of a joke. But
You mean
yeah,
Drew the host? Drew?
no. Benji, no, it's Drew the moderator. So he's a very, very like another big ally to the sport. He watches almost every video. He's moderating, and He's
Hmm.
everything from his mouth. It's all positive, 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 positive.
That's great.
Uh, he is another one. People thank Gold Star Coffee. They have been supporting arm wrestling for the longest time. Shout out to Adam with Grip Arm Sports. They've been amazing. Glenn, I mean, that guy has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to sports medicine with Infinity Functional Performance.
Yeah.
Great guy. Great guy.
Yeah. He
Love that
really
guy.
is a great guy. Great sponsor.
Here's another question. We need more 70-kilogram matches. Daniel Ustinov versus Azat Shrapyan.
Well,
Yeah.
I will say that Daniel Ustinov is on the card.
Yeah, and his opponent is no slouch either. I'm a big
No.
fan of both of them, so I
Yeah.
think that match would be great.
Yeah. That'll be an incredible match for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Now I know this is here. I'm just gonna address this. We won't. I I won't pretend like I know what Ingen is thinking, so I'll just leave it as that. But I just, I mean, I think I didn't watch all his videos. He's been putting quite a bit of videos lately, but I I think if the community can just leave him alone, right? He has mentioned that he wants to retire in peace. I urge the community to just leave him as is. And who knows? Because there's one thing I really want. Since I got into the sport, I want to see Ingen Terzi pull, Robert. I want to see him pull at our table. I want to see him pull at our event.
Hmm.
But let's all, if I can urge everybody, let's leave him in peace. Uh, and I know it seems like, I was alluding to pointing that he was the cause of everything. I never once mentioned his name, but all I can do is I can point to that region. So I won't mention anything about that further because it's an ongoing investigation. So I'm going to leave it as that. But let's just leave him alone and focus on the future. I had a meeting with many people today, and everybody urged me, let's just be positive, focus on going forward. Matter of fact, Ivan Matushenko is one of them. He says, let's ignore the negativity. There's always people trying to drag you down. Everybody's going to throw stones at you, but that's how we get stronger, right? So let's leave it as that. Jolene Clark. Oh, hey, Jolene. EVW should do a female RR. Not sure what RR stands for, but Eastern females versus best Western females. I think it would get a lot of attention as well. Robert, do you know what RR stands for?
I know.
RR. Let's see what the chat's saying. What is RR? Anybody can tell me what RR stands for? Round robin. Oh, okay, round robin. That makes sense.
Hmm.
Maybe that's a King of the Table event, Robert. Something to consider.
Yeah. Actually, Bob Brown has a really good idea
Mhm.
about. It's not really a round robin, but it's an 8-man, or in this case 8-woman, I guess you could do, event, and I kind of like the same thing that he did with Max Underground in Salt Lake City, where Wallace Dilly ended up beating Marcio Barbosa. Um, Also, there was Ron Bath and Jordan Sill and Wayne Withers, and there were 8 really top-notch arm wrestlers, and it was quite an entertaining event. So there is a possibility of doing something like that in the future.
Excellent. Uh, Here I do have this question. I would like to bring that up regarding the straps. Why not place 2 straps with a buckle on each side? Well, again, I'm not a super expert on straps, but here I can tell you from an engineering standpoint. Anytime you introduce an additional thing like a strap, it just creates like another point of failure, right? So now, refs have to figure out that they have to tighten straps on both sides instead of just one from the head refs. So I don't think that that's a pretty good way right now. Maybe maybe somebody can prove me wrong.
Yeah, I think what we want to do is, if there was any, I mean, we would have to get WAF approval for it, so it wouldn't be really very short process. It would be a little in depth, but we would want something that was more streamlined, or something, anything that makes the matches go faster, not slower, because for a larger audience, they're they're not going to be able to watch 4 hours of arm wrestling. They're just not. It's going to be 3 hours max. It's probably going to be more like in the 2 to 2.5 hour range.
Mhm.
And this event in Colorado we just had went very smoothly, very quick, very quickly. But it was still over 4 hours. So we still have some things to do to streamline and to make it go faster. Having um, you know double straps, I think, would go against that. We need to find ways to eliminate the downtime. We want more just arm wrestling and less setup.
Here's another question. Any idea for performance gear like custom shoes, like inside style hook? What about ranks? We have the options to have an arm sleeve, like top 5 black, top 10 red. Uh, Performance gear, yeah. I just received another batch of samples from suppliers. So we've been getting suppliers, samples from all around the world. It takes time. It takes time to really uh, nail down the right performance gear at the right cost and everything. But yeah, it's down the road. We'll have everything from socks to underwear or something. But not yet. Not yet. We haven't got that far yet. In time. Patience. But thank you for all the support with all the merch orders that we've been getting so far. Here's the other one: Devon versus Levon on the International Space Station. I mean, the station might break in two. The amount of power there. Devon, Dexter, and Robert, have you seen the kid that trains with Michael Todd, Jeremy
Yeah,
Parker? He has a match with Saraya Brown this weekend. Yeah, he's on the channel right now. He's a big, nice guy. Very, very nice guy.
yeah,
So
he's good. He's getting really good. He was good when he started. He was just a really big, strong kid. Now he's very technical, very even stronger. Yeah, he's got a big future, I think.
uh, next one, 175 kilograms, 3% BF. Devon versus Levon. Who wins in your opinion? Not sure.
So that'd be yeah, 175 kilograms.
Yeah.
Well, LeBron's already under that weight right now. So right now it would be LeBron, I think. But give Devin another year, or give him until next, June. That's kind of the target. Um,
Yep.
Devin thinks he can be ready for LeBron,
That
and have a real
that could be
chance.
the match of the year, Robert. The match of the year. Here's another one. What is the current situation with the website? Do you need any help on web development? No, we've completely ported over the entire servers and where the new domain EVW Sports is now pointing towards to. So everything's up and running. There may or may not be some places around the world that the new name servers and DNS have not propagated yet, but for the most part, we are good on that front. The only thing is that all our apps are currently down because they have to update the domain name internally within the codes, compile it, and republish that out. So, not apps are down temporarily, but our web should be up. So again, only go to evwsports.com until we have repurchased the old one. But going forward, even if when we repurchase the old website, web domain, it will still just be a pointer towards our current website, which is evwsports.com. Here's another question for you, Robert. Can we make a Jody line where corner people can cross?
Well, we actually talked about having a line, um, and that was at the Colorado event this weekend, and um, we do want to have a line, and we'll just have, probably for now, just duct tape, just signify or just let people know, where they can go, and what the boundaries are. So it's a great idea, and where we are doing that, that's good.
Well, and to be fair, it doesn't matter where Jody is. She could be 200 feet back, but her voice will propagate to the whole stadium. She'll be she has a strong voice, so it doesn't matter if she's close or far. She'll get her point across. Is John Brasing back to EVW? Get him back. Robert, have you spoken to John lately?
I haven't talked to John for for a little while. He's waiting to. I mean, if his back cooperates, and he doesn't know how much the surgery is going to affect him. Um, but yeah, we definitely want to keep John in EVW.
I might do a poll. Can one of our moderators do a poll for me? Because I'm not on the YouTube system. Can you guys do a poll to see how many uh how many of you guys think that having a 4-hour event and longer it's okay? Like you guys will still watch the full event if it's a 4-hour event, or is it too long, or is it too short, or you don't mind going 5 hours? Can you guys do that and then
Well, and then we need to also know if they are um, an arm wrestler or a fan, because an arm wrestler, I think, would be fine watching an event over four
it's
hours.
we cannot have follow-up questions that way, Robert.
Oh, okay.
So the poll it's singular.
It is.
So
Yeah. So
yeah.
I don't think the poll will help us too much now, but in order to
No,
get
because I would imagine everybody who's on our channel, all 500 of them, would still give us some level of an idea of it's a mix, athletes and fans as well.
yeah.
So it's
Well,
just
yeah.
something out there. Uh, okay, I will respond that shortly. Happy to be on your channel. I know there was maybe a few podcasts that I had a few podcast requests last week, but I just apologize. Last week during event week, I'm usually very tied up and I don't have time to sit down to do a formal podcast with you guys. So apologize for that. What can fans do to support EVW between events? Robert, are WAF band athletes still ineligible to compete at EVW?
Yes. WAF band athletes are not eligible um, to compete. We encourage those athletes to get reinstated, and depending on what the ban is for. I mean, if they're on the suspended list, um, you know, go back, get get your status back. Get back in good graces. We've had quite a few athletes who have wanted to do that, and it's fairly typically a fairly easy process.
Hmm. Here's another one. Where what can fans do to support EVW? I think the best thing to do is uh, do you know depending on what kind of fan you are, but if you're a content creator, I'd say go and talk about the matches, talk about how exciting that is, right? Just keep the conversation going and tell people to go watch our full matches on YouTube, which will be released this Friday, right? The more people who watch our events and tell your friends and neighbors, pull. Uh, you know, there's this thing about CrossFit, right? People who CrossFit can't stop talking about CrossFit. I think arm wrestlers should try to do the same, right? You're waiting in line at Walmart, turn around, says, "Hey, you look like you have some pretty big guns. Do you arm wrestle?" And if not, explain what arm wrestling is and tell them to go to our channel. Have them watch some of our matches, get them interested. Tell them where you know some of where your club practices are. I think it's not just so much supporting EVW between events. I think it's supporting and growing the arm wrestling community because it's a natural progression. The bigger the arm wrestling community is, the bigger EVW will be able to gain from more pay per view buys and whatnot. So I think that should be out. I don't know, Robert. Do you have any other ideas on how to support EVW?
Just just with you know the posts that you make. I don't know how active people are on social media, but that's really big. And then that that person's circle of influence knows more about what's going on at EVW. arm wrestling in general, and it just grows the sport. But thank you for that question.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I know there's been a lot of messages to me talking about doing a T-shirt called Allies of the Sport. Robert, everybody loved that, by the way, when you addressed that video, and and I
And
I think we should always try to be united. So I was pushing for unity, and I think we got there. It took us a month and a half, but we got there, and I'm happy that we are moving forward in the right direction. In essence, the suggestion was if we did a Allies of the Sport T-shirt. So maybe this would be a pretty good one. If anybody would like to to submit a Allies of the Sport design with our EVW Sports logo somewhere, I would love to see some of your community design because this is really a community based sport right now, Robert. Right? And if they want to send us, we possibly could print a whole bunch of them and put it on our website. So
yeah, great idea.
yeah, I think that's great. Here's another one. We need verse Sadrakian compete again.
Oh, Vrej?
Yeah, not too
Um,
familiar with him.
yeah,
I haven't
so
seen him.
Vrej is, yeah, he's really amazing left-hander, and he's really strong right as well. He just has to get, back, um, in good graces with WAF. And I don't know what he needs to do that, but that's really it. I did hear about a somebody that's a little heavier than Vrej, that's an up and comer that's just incredible. I need to get his name because he may be somebody that would be a good fit for EVW as well.
Right. Uh, okay. Sorry, Benji. I need to be logged into your YouTube to make a poll. Okay. Well, I thought super moderators could do it. Apologize. That poll isn't happening. Is EVW a business now? What is your vision? Well, EVW has always been a business, but keep in mind, guys, Robert Baxter is a 7-time WAF world champion. He's skipping worlds this year, which disappoints me a little bit because he's been so busy. But next year, I want to see Robert up there. I'm gonna be pushing him. I'm gonna steal his phone away until he gives me like 10 reps. Then I'll give his phone back. But but yeah.
Well,
So anyway, go ahead, Robert. What is your vision?
yeah, yeah. So um, EVW's vision is really to bring the sport, um, help bring the sport to the more of the masses. And how we can do that, I mean, we can do it through bringing in other related sports like strongman. We can do it through uh, like UFC, like we can do it through bringing it into a much bigger platform. We've talked about Netflix a lot, but it doesn't have to be Netflix. I mean, there's Amazon, there's Hulu, there's DAZN, there's lots of subscription models
Okay.
or subscription services where you pay a monthly fee and you're not really worried about all of the piracy. If we actually do just that one thing, we pick up a lot of the viewers and the subscribers from that channel that we never would have had before, and we're able to realize a lot more of the revenue than we do now. Right now, it's going in the wrong direction. So that would change everything big time, and then also allow us to even pay the athletes more and attract better and better athletes um, for the future. So and how we do that, there's a lot of ways that we're working on doing that. And one of them is to do more documentaries, which requires more funding, which means we've got to go back and we've got to be bankable, to really do these big projects. And um, so we've got to be profitable to be bankable and to do these documentaries and create fans of the athletes, just like these other sports have done, for F1, tennis, other sports have done this. UFC did it when they had um, you know, the, the reality TV show, and with Forrest Griffin and all that. These fans become fans of the athlete first, and then they want to watch the athlete compete, and they want
Right.
to tune into where that is. And so we need to do a lot more of that in order to really reach our potential as a sport, in my opinion, which just requires a lot more money.
Yep.
But
Yep.
getting away from pay-per-view and into a broadcast stream, that's a subscription model. That's the next big step for us.
100%. 100%. I uh I also want to point out, because somebody was asking, how does subscription model solves piracy? Well, for one, uh just to give people an idea, UFC costs about $80 per pay-per-view, right? And with the new partnership with Paramount, CBS, I think it's like $9. Somewhere I think it's a lot more affordable, and it's monthly. And how Paramount makes money is different from uh because their network is so much bigger. Non UFC fans would also still purchase pay-per-views because maybe they want to watch Yellowstone or one of those TV shows. So naturally they have a bigger budget. Which example, right? How many people here, all 500 of you, have a Netflix account? Okay. Now imagine if we did a deal with Netflix. Essentially, that cost goes away. Okay. Which also means that there's no need to pirate anymore because you guys are already subscribed. That's how usually subscription models are a lot cheaper when we go to broadcast streaming. Now, to give you an idea, uh, from the cost, so doing through ESPN on a pay per view, a UFC fan has to pay about over $1,000, you know, a, thou- a year to watch all pay per views. With their new subscription models and whatnot, with Paramount, it's maybe $150 to watch every UFC event. Like, it's a massive savings, and that's what we want to do. We want to save all the fans money and also have a better reach, so nobody needs to technically uh, pirate our videos. Because I know, financial, it's it's difficult to certain people from certain countries. So I understand that, and that's why we're trying to figure out how to reduce our overall costs and still have enough financial backing from the streaming companies to grow and grow and grow. Um, Next company. Another guy says, "Who's complaining about the duration of events? I have zero issues with a 4-hour event."
Yeah, anybody that's a hardcore arm wrestler will agree with that. What I'm talking about is, in order to get to the masses, in order to get to a bigger fan base, like a much larger fan base, it's got to be 3 hours or less. And that's pretty much, I mean, you just look at any sport, any mainstream sport, um, you know, you're not going to hold the attention of somebody that's not just a fanatic, or not just, a purist, very hardcore arm wrestler in this case.
Yeah. The next question: Who owns King of the Table? I've always loved that name.
Yeah,
The assets, it is owned by EVW Sports.
correct.
Next question: How about a free event and no pay for athletes? Well, there are a lot of costs that goes along with an event, and athletes is by far the largest contributor to that cost. But we are talking about venue costs. We're talking about logistics, getting the athletes there. We're talking about lodging. We're also talking about the production, which is also another massive cost, and overhead and whatnot. So there are a lot of costs beyond athletes' costs as well. So, And again, is it fair for athletes to be preparing and, prior to an event, they usually, eat a lot more and they train harder, take time off from work, and then, no pay? To a certain level, I could see that maybe for the undercards or people who have, are trying to make a name for themselves. But for the most part, a lot of the top athletes, quite a number of them are doing this full time. So it's a pretty big dedication on their part. So,
Yep.
but I mean, if athletes are volunteering not to get paid, me and Robert are pretty happy with that. um, what the EVW think about having elevated center stage where everyone can see and I guess up and close? A small stadium style for arm wrestling is great for viewing and interacting. I think we've talked about it, right? Other leagues have done so, make it like real intimate, real small, real hype and busy and crowded, and it does give a lot of energy to the athletes for sure. I don't know, Robert. Do you have any thoughts about that?
It's pretty hard. I mean, the way it was done, it has been done in the past. It's kind of hard to do unless you want to have a smaller group. But um, yeah, I don't know how we would really do it unless we had elevated seating and then a certain above a certain height where you're above where the athletes could block the view. Then you could see down, um, and it could work that way. I'm not sure if that's what the fan is asking, but um, for now, I think we need to stick with kind of line of sight that they can
Yeah.
see the match, but they could see it on both sides. So you could have, uh, if the venue allowed, you could have the stage in the middle with elevated seating on both sides, and that could work.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's another one. It's hard to get unity when Robert refused to invite Zaur. How do you want to disclose that, Robert?
Oh, we have to have lines that I mean that otherwise
Hmm.
we really without some kind of parameters, then everybody can just do whatever they want. So I don't think we can do that. I think we have to have rules.
And I know you're a little bit cryptic, but I think most people understand that Zaur is pulling at GVW.
Yes.
Yeah. I yeah.
So there's a little bit more. I mean, but yeah. Bottom line is, we just have to draw the line somewhere. I mean, we are working with the athletes as much as we possibly can, um,
Yeah.
but you know there has to
Here's
be
another one.
boundaries. Yep.
We should plan something so a winner at Winter Blast, largest tournament in the country currently, gets an EVW opportunity of some sort. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, if we made it a EVW qualifier, possibly.
Yeah. We've Robert and I we spoke in the past about trying to figure out some sort of a more structured EVW qualifier program. Right now, our main focus is to get all our basics down, all our core focus to be to be nailed down so good, then we can slowly start expanding this whole program. Um, yeah, so stay tuned for EVW qualifier information. But yeah, I mean 98. Let's we can talk a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sorry, I already addressed that. How much of the quality of EVW 19 will continue going forward? Great event. Is it affordable to have Brian's team to do all the events in the future? Um, so the company that Brian hired, we don't know their full exact costs yet because he uses the same team over the course of 3 days. So I'm sure there are some, economies of scales. So we only know that number, but we don't. I I need to talk to them about if they would do only one event per year. Oh, sorry, 1 day event. And also, it'll be difficult and unfeasible to fly all of them out to anywhere outside of North America. So there is also that component.
Yeah,
So
we're doing something similar though in Switzerland. So we're using actually a much bigger team, a much bigger production team than we've used in the past
yeah.
in Switzerland, and we're looking at um, using a similar kind of a production team um, that's local, that's in Zurich or close proximity to Zurich. Um, so we get that, more of that kind of a higher quality production.
Well, one of the biggest thing as well when we travel is also the internet connection. For instance, it will sound really crazy, but like in Istanbul, internet isn't as good as Colorado. We and then they brought in a satellite truck, and even the satellite truck, that's like a 40-year-old technology. So to create another layer, we spent at least, I think it was like $5,000 to bring in another set of equipment that's ridiculous. You guys would never imagine this to be the case. This equipment essentially is using 5G technology, but 5G technology on a cell phone has its ups and downs, right? Sometimes the internet connection cuts off and whatnot. This machine, uh, we had to plug in, like, I think it was like 10 SIM cards, 10 SIM cards in there with all 5G. And essentially, it's like five cell phone power into one box as our backup stream. So it's kind of a weird thing just to get that level to some level of uh, you know bandwidth. So it's a little bit tricky every time we travel, but and I know it's easy to say, well, let's do one event, pick one venue, and every event is at that venue. I think we would have perfect stream quality all year round, no problem. But when we travel, it's going to be challenging. But what we learn now is because we embedded several of our core team members with Charlie and his team, we kind of understood some of the technical requirements that they have been using, and we'll be using that going forward, like camera types, settings, whatnot. So, and then our producer would go ahead and inform the AV production team and insist that we use certain type of equipment. So that's what we could do. For instance, I don't know, maybe I'm getting a little bit too detailed. Like cameras in the past, they were using like broadcast systems 1080i, just so to in case our bandwidth and bitrate is too low, and now we are switching everything to a watered down 4K. So there's a lot of those kind of things. But yeah, for sure, we will improve and improve and improve as much as we can. We need to encourage athletes to be more engaging if you want to go mainstream. Totally agree. I mean, this time around, a lot of our matches had a lot of energy outside of just going there and pull. I think this event it was very entertaining. It was very entertaining. Less the injury for sure. Free prelim with 4 matches like bare knuckle fighting till you expand. So Robert, like we've discussed in the past, there is the early prelims like the UFC does, right? And those are on the free channel, hype up the crowd, get everybody a small taste of what's to happen. They get to see the production quality, and then we transition over to the main event later in the day, uh, and that's the pay-per-view model. So we have talked about it, and I addressed that about potentially doing it in Switzerland. Please convert COD to a tournament event consisting of the best athletes. That would be awesome. Imagine the top 10 uh super heavyweights. Huh? Something to consider, Robert. We could use COD as a tournament instead of
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
it is a good idea.
Yeah. It that's really what King of the Table means when it comes to ping
Sure.
pong or like table tennis, right?
Hmm.
What are your takeaways from Shaw Classic? I think that like athletes, they like all the small little things that may seem very insignificant, like providing them with snacks and waters and but it really goes a long way. And I thought that was a really nice touch from them.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think they did a great job of just covering the little things that really, you know, it makes a difference.
Yeah, for sure. Here's an arm wrestling has a tremendous range. Can EVW capture part of the wildness we saw in Game of Arms without alienating the purists and keep things fair? Super honest, I have not seen Game of Arms. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not super sure what that is.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was a reality TV show that went back in the 2014 to 20,
uh,
I think 18, something like that. Um, it was entertaining. Um, yeah, I'm not sure if we want to do something like that. I mean, there's other people that are doing things that are going to be kind of fight houses
mhm.
and things like that that'll be more entertaining and pick up more fans too. So
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Neil Pickup because he does things like that too.
yeah, well,
But,
we've got multiple people doing things like that.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, all that helps.
Okay, Robert. Here's another question from sounds to me an European name, an Eastern European name. Ivan Tolkachev. Will we see Ayane Takenaka back at EVW? I mean, that's like the sixth person who mentioned this. We've
Yeah,
really got to consider, uh, consider that. I mean,
yeah, yep, we
hey,
do.
Japanese don't need a visa to enter America, Robert.
Right. Yeah,
But I think we answered quite a bit of questions, and I usually don't like to drag this out too long because if somebody comes in and sees like, oh, this is a 2 hour podcast, well, I'm not gonna start because I know I can't finish. So, uh, is there any last words you wanna, you know, address to the whole crowd, Robert?
well, just wanted to thank everybody for supporting us through these trials and tough times, and we'll get through it, and Switzerland will be a real fresh start, um, and it'll just go from there. But just wanted to say thank you to our fans and to the arm wrestling community for everything you're doing and have done and continue to do.
Yeah, I like to add that I thank all the fans and all the arm wrestlers, all the supporters, for standing by us and believing in us, and more importantly, uh, patient enough to to go through all the drama that we had in the past 2 months. It's these kind of dramas doesn't really help the sport. Now, the drama between two athletes competing, I think that helps the sport. It make it more interesting. So, I apologize that you know of whatever you guys had to endure, and we will try to remember to stay positive. And I thank you everybody who is sort of kind of gave us some guidance and words of wisdom to keep staying positive, and let's all stay united. I'm so happy that most, if not almost all, the Eastern European athletes are back. We are stronger, united, and I think Switzerland would be an amazing event. You guys, if you guys are able to fly there and attend in person, I guarantee you guys will not regret it. Matter of fact, I believe the Swiss Open is the largest tournament in Europe, right, Robert? And
That's right.
and
It'll
it's
be much bigger this year too with EVW. So
exactly. So go there, attend the Open tournament in Switzerland, and stay and watch for our main event on Saturday. So till then, if you guys have any other questions whatsoever, feel free to put it on the chat. I'll try to read it. You guys have been nothing but amazing, and good night, everybody.
yeah, thank you, everybody.